here's something wild. Every single week you're inhaling enough microplastics to match the weight of a credit card. Not just eating them, not just drinking them, you're breathing them in. That's roughly a teaspoon, 5 grams of invisible plastic dust slipping into your body without you ever seeing it, smelling it, or tasting it. And if that doesn't make you pause, it should. Because today, we're pulling back the curtain on why these particles are so dangerous, and how they're quietly affecting our health. This video kicks off a 4-part series exposing the hidden microplastic traps in our daily lives, from the tea bags we trust, to the toilet paper we never think twice about. If you want to stay informed, protect your health, and understand what's really happening behind the scenes, you're in the right place. With every breath we take, an invisible health crisis unfolds. Microplastics, dating back to the 1950s, are resurfacing, quietly increasing our daily exposure. Everyday plastic products release tiny airborne fragments, and without realizing it, we inhale them. But it doesn't stop there. These microplastics also find their way into our food and drinks, making their presence in our lives unavoidable. Now comes the good part. We'll walk you through simple, practical steps to cut hidden plastic harms. Start small, make it routine, and watch the difference add up. Most importantly, keep your spark. Stay vibrant by nurturing your body and protecting the earth for the next generation. Here's the big question. How are we inhaling plastics with every breath, on top of eating and drinking them every day? Let's dive in. Researchers already know the gastrointestinal tract can act as a storage site for micro and nanoplastics, and studies have even found microplastics in prenatal human placentas. So is this unstoppable, and what are the health implications? We're only just beginning to understand. If that's true, is it already too late to act? The hidden threat of microplastics runs deeper than we thought, but understanding the problem is the first step toward solutions. Alright, so let's break down plastics. What exactly are microplastics and nanoplastics? Microplastics are tiny fragments of plastic, anything smaller than 5 millimeters. To picture that, stack 3 bank cards together, and you're about at the 5 millimeters thickness. These particles come from the breakdown of everyday plastic products, single-use bottles, food packaging, kitchen tools, clothing, furniture, even those tiny plastic pellets used to make toys, car parts and packaging. Nanoplastics are even smaller, ultrafine particles created as plastics continue to degrade over time. And yes, microplastics can be detected in human blood through laboratory blood tests. Let's look at our surroundings differently, up close. We breathe in plastic particles from these everyday items daily, so reduce surrounding microplastics, trying to buy products made from natural fibers and materials, as much as you can, by switching gradually. So we should examine some well-known sources of microplastics in our daily lives more closely. It starts with the question, how many plastic bottles of water we drunk in our lifetime? Also, ask yourself, how much water have I been drinking in my so-called BPA-free water bottles? How many coffees in takeaway cups and takeaway meals in plastic containers have I been having throughout my life? Countless. Unless you've been regularly fasting to detoxify, or making efforts like taking the master antioxidant, glutathione, exercising, these microplastics have been accumulating in your body, damaging your lungs, brain, heart, colon, testicles, hormone balance, and even affecting newborns. Being informed is empowering. Let's review recent studies and protect ourselves from further harm. Bottled drink users consume 640,000 microplastics in 1 year, and multiply it by your age. For instance, multiply it by 38. It's over 24 million microplastics floating around, and most microplastics leave the body, but some settling quietly in our tissues, year after year. How much remains depends on our lifestyle, diet and exercise. With daily exposure, we've been carrying this hidden burden for generations without knowing it. The larger the plastic bottle, the more microplastics it contains, which are invisible to the naked eye. Chemicals from the plastic will leach into the water over time, and when squeezed with force, during transportation, or if it left in a hot car, or in the sun. Let's look at the studies. Avoiding plastics, it isn't easy, but since it affects every single one of us who swims, eats and breathes, it concerns us all. The research led by Dr. Sahar from the University of Technology, Sydney, will help us understand how different types of microplastics enter the human body. Now, let's look at what we're exposed to every day. The primary types of nano and microplastics we inhale are intentionally manufactured. They're present in cleaning products we breathe in and absorb from surfaces. as well as in many cosmetics and personal care items. We'll break down their hidden harms to our health, and the practical solutions to reduce and swap them, across the 4 parts of this video. And the secondary types of fragments are from broken down plastic items, water bottles, food containers, and clothing made from synthetic textiles. These textiles are spun from chemically produced fibers, like polyester, nylon, acrylic, PVC, and rayon. Wherever possible, start phasing these materials out of your daily life. Well, another factor is breathing rate. Fast breathing deposits larger microplastics in the upper respiratory tract, while slow breathing allows smaller nanoplastics to penetrate deeper. Especially during sleep and rest, high number of tiny particles go to the deeper airways. Global plastic production has blown past 400 million tons a year. Most of it is single-use, and barely 10% ever gets recycled. We've gone from 2 million tons in 1950 to more than 450 million tons today, and we're still accelerating. We're dumping 19 to 23 million tons of plastic into rivers, lakes, and oceans every year. Microplastics are now in our food, our water, and the air we breathe. The average person is ingesting tens of thousands of particles annually. And if nothing changes, plastic pollution is on track to double by 2040. This isn't a future problem, it's a systems failure happening right now. So why is waiting for policy such a luxury we can't afford? Real regulations could take years to finalize, and even longer to actually roll out. Meanwhile, the science is crystal clear. We have to cut plastic production, better recycling and waste management, can't keep up with the sheer volume we're producing. The message is simple, the data already tells us what to do. We don't need to wait for permission to act. Watch part 2 next. Microplastics in your food. See exactly how microplastics end up in what you eat and drink every day. Once you understand the impact, the swaps and reductions make so much more sense, and the solutions become habits you can actually stick with. So see you in part 2.